Imagine a world where forgetting your pain is a superpower, but remembering is the only way to save everyone you love. Tonight, we dive into a hidden gem, a murder mystery where the detectives are fluffy, four-legged, and surprisingly brilliant. Welcome, cinematic sleuths, to The Case of the Missing George, a story that will make you rethink everything you know about sheep and murder. Our story begins on a picturesque farm, home to a flock of rambunctious sheep, led by their kind shepherd, George. Among them are Daisy, Oliver, Pickles, and our brilliant protagonist, Lily, who is always asking questions. But there's also Sebastian, Winter Lamb, an outcast shunned by the flock for reasons only sheep understand. Because he was born in winter, the flock believes he doesn't belong, often treating him differently. Only George, the kind shepherd, shows the winter lamb genuine affection, much to the flock's confusion. George's life seems simple, filled with caring for his flock, and writing secret love letters to a mysterious Rebecca Hampstead in America. One day, the sheep worry about Sebastian, who keeps wandering into the nearby town of Denbrook. Lily, ever the compassionate leader, insists Sebastian is part of their flock, despite his frequent disappearances. Soon, Caleb, the rival shepherd, arrives for a visit, stirring up excitement among the sheep who hope for combined flocks. Reggie and Ronnie, the Bash Bros, even consider bashing Caleb's new, shiny car, but are reminded that bashing requires a legitimate cause. However, George rejects Caleb's offer, leaving the sheep disappointed and sad. To cope with the disappointment, the flock, by some unique sheep ability, decides to collectively forget Caleb's entire visit. Only Mopple, the memory keeper, suffers from a terrible affliction. He cannot choose to forget anything. Meanwhile, the innkeeper, Beth, gossips about George's corny old romantic love letters, revealing his hidden sentimental side. A young, ambitious junior reporter, Elliot Matthews, arrives in Denbrook to cover the cultural festival. He's dismayed to find that the festival is just a few tables celebrating the film Return to Oz, shot nearby. The innkeeper, Beth, defends her town's heritage, but Elliot is desperate for a real story for his editor. Back at the farm, the sheep grow worried when George doesn't come out for their nightly story. Lily discovers the kind shepherd, George, lying motionless in his caravan, dead. The flock, in their innocent understanding, grapples with the concept of death, believing sheep only turn into clouds. Overwhelmed by pain, Lily suggests they choose to forget George, as sheep are not meant to feel such things. But Sebastian, the winter lamb, refuses to let them forget, insisting on justice for their beloved shepherd. He explains justice to the flock, reminding them of George's kindness and how he only raised them for their wool. Zora, a curious lamb, then asks the shocking question, why was George murdered, based on her nighttime stories knowledge. Lily dismisses this as pretend, but a subtle clue, George's missing hat and raincoat in the storm, sparks her suspicion. She boosts Mopple up to peer into the caravan, and he declares, I see everything. Officer Derry, the bumbling local policeman, quickly concludes George died of a heart attack. However, Elliot, the reporter, points out the overturned chair and suggests George wasn't alone, hinting at foul play. Despite Officer Derry's dismissal, Lily, using her keen observational skills, deduces that George was indeed murdered by poison. The sheep, understanding that the nighttime stories rule that the police are always hopeless, decide they must solve the crime themselves. Sebastian scoffs at their ambition, reminding them they're just stupid sheep, ill-equipped for human mysteries. Ignoring him, Lily initiates the investigation, asking if anyone saw anything the night of the murder. Ronnie and Reggie, the Bash brothers, immediately accuse Sebastian, who sarcastically confesses to a highly improbable murder. Suddenly, the town bells ring, signaling a gathering about George's death. The sheep realize the killer will be there, so they must brave the outside world and venture into town. Overcoming their fear of the unknown, particularly the dreaded road, Lily and Sebastian lead the flock towards Denbrook. After a terrifying but successful journey, the flock arrives in Denbrook, filled with a newfound sense of accomplishment. Sebastian reminds Lily that the real world is more complicated than their stories, but Lily remains confident in the simple rules of murder mysteries. In town, they witness the townsfolk at church, leading to a hilarious discussion about God, whom they interpret as an invisible lamb beaver made of bread. Elliot, feigning ignorance, accidentally announces to the crowd that George was poisoned, much to Officer Derry's embarrassment. Officer Derry reveals George was poisoned with taxine from yew tree berries, which grow right by the church. Just then, George's sharp lawyer, Lydia Harbottle, arrives, followed by Rebecca Hampstead, who claims to be George's daughter. This is a shock to everyone, fulfilling the story rule: an unexpected person arrives and changes everything. Elliot, ever observing, points out that Rebecca's timely arrival means she was already in the country the night of the murder. Lydia announces a will reading at the Partridge Inn, naming Rebecca, the Reverend, Caleb, Beth, and Ham as attendees. Lydia corners Officer Derry, exposing his inexperience and hinting that he should be more suspicious of Rebecca. Lily realizes they must attend the will reading, believing the suspect's eyes will reveal their lies. At the inn, Rebecca tells Officer Derry George's letters explained her mother died in childbirth, and she was put up for adoption. Officer Derry, trying to be a smart detective, again notes Rebecca's impossible travel timeline, confirming she was in the country. From their perch, Lily observes Rebecca's happy face but scared eyes, fueling her suspicions. Rebecca also mentions a twin brother in South Africa, which excites Elliot, the journalist, as potential gold. Elliot tries to get an exclusive from Rebecca but is rudely kicked out by Lydia, the sharp lawyer. Lydia begins the will reading, revealing George made a new will just 3 days before his death. The new will names a fool, a bad shepherd, a spring lamb, a winter lamb, a victim, and 2 murderers among those present. The biggest shock: Rebecca inherits not just the farm and sheep, but a money market account totaling approximately $30 million. This massive fortune, from George patenting an Orff remedy, instantly gives Rebecca a strong motive. Chaos erupts as Sebastian, now with Orff, runs amok, nearly revealing the sheep's presence. Elliot, seeing an opportunity, manipulates Officer Derry into a partnership, promising him respect as an officer hero if they solve the case together. The sheep notice Rebecca searching George's trailer, wondering what she's trying to find or hide. The flock, fueled by old prejudices, immediately concludes Rebecca is a winter lamb and therefore the murderer. Lily decides they need George's last book, which has a chapter on means, motive, and opportunity, to help Officer Derry. Wool Eyes, after some comical misdirection, impressively finds the book, declaring himself a sheep detective. Sebastian, alone, finally shares his painful backstory: he was a carnival lamb, forced to fight dogs, until George rescued him. He reveals he, too, is a winter lamb, and, sooner or later, a winter lamb wants to leave. Officer Derry, surprisingly, understands the book and outlines the 3 pillars of investigation: means, motive, and opportunity. He declares they must find the Denbrook poisoner by identifying who had all 3. During questioning, Ham the butcher reveals his hatred for George's vegetarianism, while Beth the innkeeper claims she is the victim. Caleb admits George cancelled his lease, then the Reverend confesses he is the bad shepherd, having exploited George for church repairs. Rebecca provides an alibi, watching TV at a hotel near the airport between 8 o'clock and 11 p.m. Officer Derry, showing unexpected investigative prowess, reveals Rebecca's real name is Chastity Cramps, and she has a history of association with a forger. Lily is baffled by Rebecca's layers of lies, making her appear guiltier despite Sebastian's protests. Sebastian insists George loved him and defended Rebecca, sparking a critical realization for Lily. Lily remembers Cloud saying Rebecca smells just like George, despite Rebecca being far away. Cloud confesses Rebecca was at the farm the night of the murder, and a shiny bracelet, the thing with no end, slipped off her. The flock instantly declares Rebecca guilty, but Sebastian argues a bit of shiny metal doesn't solve anything. Sebastian then reveals his deep pain, stating he doesn't have a flock, having always been an outcast. Officer Derry confronts Rebecca with the bracelet, which matches others she wears. Rebecca is arrested despite her tearful plea, "I didn't kill my father." With Rebecca's arrest, Caleb prepares to buy George's land and sheep, seemingly putting the case to rest, much to Officer Derry's relief. Lily, still unsure despite the proof, confides in Mopple, who reminds her that her stories are not always real life. Lily and Mopple venture into Caleb's meadow, hoping to meet their new flock, but find something sinister instead. They discover a horrifying sight, sheep being turned into food, revealing Caleb's true, monstrous nature. As Caleb's dogs pursue them, Sebastian appears, sacrificing himself so Lily and Mopple can escape. Lily witnesses Sebastian dying, shattering her belief that sheep only turn into clouds, and realizing the grim truth about their fate. Sebastian's last words to Lily are, "You're my flock," a testament to his bravery and loyalty. Lily rushes back to warn the flock, urging them to wake up and escape before Caleb comes for them. The flock, in their fear, tries to forget the horrible truth, but Mopple bravely stops them. Mopple, the memory keeper, reveals he remembers every bad thing, but also good things, and that remembering is essential. He tells Lily that if she forgets, Sebastian will have died for nothing, pushing her to action. George's ghost, his memory, appears to Lily, reminding her that, "You didn't forget me," empowering her. George's memory tells Lily she already knows how to save the flock, by figuring out who the real killer is. Suddenly, all the clues click for Lily. Rebecca didn't do it. "I know who did." She realizes that grassy green stain on George's hand wasn't grass at all, but something else entirely. Lily devises a plan, using Ronnie and Reggie's bashing skills and Mopple's small size to retrieve a crucial piece of evidence. Ronnie and Reggie, the Bash brothers, successfully retrieve a sample, causing chaos and confusion in the inn. Lily bursts into the will signing, declaring Rebecca's innocence and proclaiming she knows the true killer. Lily reveals the real killer, Peter Van Buren, George's twin son from South Africa, who had a perfect alibi. She exposes Elliot Matthews, the reporter, as Peter Van Buren, hiding in plain sight, wanting the $30 million inheritance. Lily reconstructs the crime. Elliot poisoned his father, planted the new will, and struggled with George, leaving a critical clue. She explains that the green stain, George, while stained blue from his medicine, grabbed Elliot's hair, which was dyed with cheap yellow dye that ran in the rain, creating green. Officer Derry seizes Elliot's hair, confirming he can use its DNA to prove Elliot is George's son, and thus, the murderer. The Bash brothers, seeing legitimate cause for bashing, rush in and take down Elliot. Rebecca, now Rebecca Hardy, inherits the farm and, with her newfound family, saves the sheep from Caleb and Ham's butchery. Rebecca learns her mother's name was Lily, a touching revelation connecting her to the wise sheep detective. Caleb and Ham try to buy the farm, but Rebecca rejects them, recognizing them as the two murderers from the will. Rebecca embraces her new life, even adopting a new winter lamb, whom she names George, ensuring every sheep has a name. The movie closes with a narration from George's book, revealing sheep are not only intelligent but cherish belonging above all. And that's the case of the missing George, a heartwarming, hilarious, and surprisingly sharp murder mystery. If you thought this recap was as clever as Lily, smash that like button and share it with your flock. What was your favorite sheep deduction? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the most unexpected cinematic universes.